Dismiss your entire team by Friday afternoon, or I will gladly do it for you," Regina Thorpe said, tapping her sharp scarlet fingernails against my calendar. Her voice held the flat indifference of someone discussing the weekly weather report, not the livelihoods of 8 dedicated people. I gripped my pen tighter, the plastic casing creaking under the pressure of my knuckles. "My team has exceeded every single performance target this quarter," I replied, keeping my tone as even as possible. Regina leaned forward, her breath smelling of strong wintergreen mints. "The numbers on your colorful spreadsheets do not matter to me, Julian. Your little collection of eccentric oddballs costs this firm twice as much as a standard department. The executive decision has already been made." Through the glass walls of my workspace, I could see my team working diligently. Nadia Vance sat with her headphones on, her fingers flying across the keys as she analyzed code structures. Clarence Webb was sketching user interface designs, his forehead furrowed in deep concentration. Fiona Cole was speaking warmly to an important client on the telephone. "They need proper legal notice," I said, maintaining my stance. "They are contractually entitled to at least 2 weeks of severance and transition time under their agreements." "Friday is your deadline," Regina said, as she straightened the collar of her cream suit jacket. "I have been brought in to streamline operations and eliminate redundancy, and your team is the very definition of corporate excess. Either handle the termination yourself, or I will have building security escort them out of the lobby. The choice is yours." She turned on her heels, her shoes clicking sharply against the polished tiles as she walked away. My hands shook as I opened my desk drawer, touching the thank you cards my team had given me last month. They had saved the firm from bankruptcy 18 months ago, rebuilding our database while executives panicked in their meetings. Nobody knew because we worked behind the scenes, solving problems others could not identify. That evening, I sent a brief message to everyone. I asked them to meet me at the quiet park behind our office building at 7 o'clock. One by one, they arrived under the soft glow of the park lights, 8 faces looking to me for guidance and answers. "Our new director of operations wants all of us gone by Friday afternoon," I said, watching the sudden shock spread across their faces. "But the launch is next month," Nadia protested, shaking her head. "They cannot possibly complete the deployment without us." "She claims we are a luxury we cannot afford," I explained. "What about our actual results?" Clarence asked quietly. Apparently, those results do not translate to her spreadsheets. Fiona stood up, crossing her arms defensively. "So that is how it ends. We spend 3 years working late nights for this firm, and we are treated like disposable garbage?" I twisted my silver ring, a nervous habit when my mind began to race. I looked at the determined faces of my team. Regina Thorpe did not know who they really were. They were not just employees. They were a network of highly skilled individuals who kept the company running. If you are wondering what happens next in this intense office drama, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. I share new stories every week about corporate justice and the cleverest revenge strategies. Drop a comment below about the most difficult boss you have ever had to face. Let me explain how this journey started. My name is Julian Gentry. 5 years ago, I joined this technology firm as a quiet project coordinator. I was efficient, organized, and almost entirely invisible to senior management. What they did not realize was that I spent my time studying the entire operation. I observed which projects succeeded, which ones failed, how executives made decisions, and who actually did the real work. It was never the vice presidents with their expensive suits and loud presentations. It was the quiet people scattered across various departments who quietly solved problems without asking for praise. When the firm faced bankruptcy 18 months ago, panic spread through the hallways. Our sales had dropped by 40% in 2 consecutive quarters, and 3 of our largest accounts had defected to competitors. The layoffs began immediately, targeting the newest workers regardless of their actual talent. I walked directly into the office of the Chief Executive Officer, Donald Thorne, with a bold proposal. "Give me 8 specific individuals in 6 months to turn the situation around," I told him. "No public announcements, no luxury office suites, just basic resources and the freedom to work without corporate interference." "Why should I trust you with this when the senior vice presidents are panicking?" Donald asked, his voice heavy with doubt. Because those vice presidents are using the same failed strategies that got us into this mess, I replied. We need people who think differently. He reluctantly agreed to my terms. I selected 8 people whom others had consistently overlooked. Nadia Vance was a programmer who found security patterns others missed. Clarence Webb was a designer whose sketches focused on human emotion. Fiona Cole was a customer service representative who remembered every client detail. Sanjay Mehta was an accountant who questioned every single spending assumption. Mateo Flores was a facility technician with an engineering degree from his home country. Clara Higgins was a receptionist who spoke 7 languages. Roy Brooks was a delivery driver who understood product defects better than the engineers. Ingrid Sorensen was a cafeteria worker who held 3 separate patents. We took over a dusty storage room and turned it into our headquarters. Within 6 months, our business stabilized, and by 10 months, we were growing again. For the next 3 days, we followed a carefully structured plan that we called the Blue Protocol. We did not complain, nor did we make any scenes. We gradually packed our personal belongings into small cardboard boxes. We systematically transferred our active project files to the shared network drives, making sure everything looked orderly. We even designated replacement contacts for urgent matters, showing complete cooperation. To anyone watching, we were defeated employees who had accepted our fate. Regina Thorpe watched our progress with visible satisfaction, stopping by my office on Thursday afternoon to offer her patronizing approval. I am pleased to see you handling this transition so professionally, she said, leaning against the doorframe. Some managers let their emotions get the best of them during a restructuring. I understand the realities of business efficiency, I replied, placing a family photograph into my box. This is why you will survive the upcoming organizational changes, she said with a cold smile. You are practical. She checked her digital tablet. I have scheduled the official exit interviews for tomorrow at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Building security will collect your security badges immediately afterward. After she left, I sent a final message to my team containing the activation code. Friday arrived with quiet efficiency. My team cleared their desks, attended the brief exit interviews where Regina expressed her rehearsed sympathy and surrendered their access credentials. By 5 o'clock in the evening, the database access was revoked, and their corporate email accounts were deactivated. Regina sent me a short message congratulating me on a clean execution. I did not reply. Instead, I picked up my phone and called the chief executive officer. It is done, I said when Donald Thorne answered. Everything has proceeded exactly as we planned. Are you absolutely certain about this, Julian? He asked. There is a significant amount of operational risk involved. I am completely certain, I replied. I will see you at the board meeting on Monday morning. I spent the weekend reviewing our materials, ensuring that every detail was flawless. By Monday morning, I felt a calm confidence. I arrived at the office early, wearing a dark blue suit I had kept for special occasions. Regina was already in the main conference room, finalizing her presentation slides for the quarterly board meeting. I have highlighted your team's termination as a key achievement in my efficiency report, she informed me. An immediate savings of $1.2 million annually is going to impress the directors. Thank you for recognizing our contribution to the savings, I replied, keeping my voice neutral. She looked at me, perhaps sensing the lack of concern in my voice, but she was interrupted by a call on her phone. At 9 o'clock in the morning, the members of the board of directors began to arrive. 12 men and women in tailored suits entered the room, greeted warmly by Regina. At precisely 9 o'clock and 15 minutes, the side door opened. Donald Thorne entered the room, and right behind him walked the 8 members of my team. Regina's presentation stopped mid-sentence, her face twisting in confusion. What is the meaning of this? She whispered angrily to me. I did not need to answer, because the board members were already standing up to greet my team. The chairman of the board, Bruce Sinclair, walked over and warmly shook hands with Mateo Flores. How is your daughter Elena doing with her university science project? Bruce asked him with genuine interest. She won first place in the state competition, Mateo replied proudly. The scholarship committee is interviewing her next week. Across the room, Diana Sinclair, a lead investor and Bruce's wife, was talking to Nadia Vance. The community coding camp you organized was a wonderful success, Diana said. The participants are still talking about your database workshop. Regina stepped toward Donald Thorne, her voice tight with controlled anger. Mr. Thorne, what is happening here? I officially terminated these individuals on Friday afternoon. Did you? Donald Thorne replied calmly. I do not recall signing off on any permanent terminations for the Special Solutions team. Clara Higgins approached the long table carrying a tray of refreshments. She handed a cup of hot coffee to the eldest board member, Harold Briggs. 1 cream, no sugar, with a dash of cinnamon, Clara said with a smile. Harold smiled warmly. Just the way I like it, Clara. How is your grandson Toby doing at the university? He is at the top of his mechanical engineering class, Clara replied. The letter of recommendation you wrote made all the difference. Every interaction in the room revealed a web of personal connections that Regina had never bothered to discover. These were relationships built over 18 months of quiet help, not superficial corporate networking. Regina's eyes darted around the room as she tried to calculate the situation. She grabbed my arm, her nails pressing through my suit jacket. You set me up, she hissed. You knew who they were all along. I gently removed her hand. You never asked who they were, Regina. You only saw numbers on a spreadsheet, not people. Donald Thorne called the meeting to order, and my team members took seats among the board directors. As we begin our review, Donald said, I think we should address the events of Friday afternoon. Regina stood up straight, trying to regain her composure. As part of our approved efficiency initiative, we eliminated a costly specialty unit that was draining resources without providing measurable returns, she argued. The financial data clearly supported the decision. Perhaps we should clarify what this team actually does. Donald Thorne interrupted, turning to me. Julian, would you please introduce the Special Solutions Initiative to the board? I stood up and walked to the front of the room. 18 months ago, when we faced potential bankruptcy, we created a specialized unit that operated outside of traditional corporate boundaries, I explained. These individuals were chosen for their unique problem-solving capabilities, not just their formal credentials. I pointed to each member as I spoke. Nadia Vance redesigned our entire security architecture after identifying critical network vulnerabilities. Clarence Webb's interface redesign increased customer satisfaction by 42%. Fiona Cole personally rebuilt relationships with our largest institutional accounts when we were on the verge of losing them. Regina stared at her digital tablet, searching for information she had ignored for weeks. But these accomplishments are not documented in the quarterly department reports, she protested. They are indeed documented, Sanjay Mehta, our accountant, spoke up from his seat. However, they are listed under the results of the departments we assisted. We solve the technical and operational problems, then hand the completed solutions to the respective managers. Which is why, I continued, terminating this team without any consultation was a major operational error. The launch of our new Winton database system next month relies entirely on their ongoing integration work. Bruce Sinclair leaned forward, looking directly at Regina. Did you review the actual technical contributions of this team before ordering their dismissal? I requested the relevant data, Regina said defensively. The reports I received did not justify their annual budget of $1.2 million. I provided 3 comprehensive reports detailing our value, I countered, opening my laptop. Here is the email record showing you received them, along with your responses, stating you would review them when you had time. The projector screen showed the email chain, displaying my detailed attachments and her brief, dismissive replies. Deanna Sinclair frowned. So you eliminated a critical engineering team without understanding their basic function? I understood their cost, Regina insisted, her voice rising slightly. Corporate efficiency requires difficult decisions. Efficiency without effectiveness is simply organized failure, Harold Briggs remarked, causing several board members to nod in agreement. Donald Thorne stood up. Let us be clear. Regina terminated 8 people whose current work is essential to projects representing 30% of our projected revenue for the next quarter. Fortunately, Julian alerted me to the situation last week. I officially transferred these individuals to a special project status directly under the board's supervision. They never actually stopped working. Relief spread through the room, and Donald proceeded with the quarterly financial presentation. The charts showed steady growth, with every positive indicator secretly linked to my team's quiet efforts. Throughout the meeting, Regina sat stiffly in her chair, her eyes fixed on the screen, her knuckles white. Her narrative of heroic cost-cutting had completely fallen apart. During a short recess, I went to the hallway to get a glass of water. Regina followed me, her expression furious. "You deliberately undermined my authority," she said in a low, intense whisper. "No, I gave you multiple opportunities to understand our value," I replied. "You chose to ignore them. This is not over," she said with sudden coldness. "The board may be impressed by your little display of office relationships, but financial realities do not lie. Your team is still an expensive redundancy, and I will prove it." I filled my cup slowly. "You still do not understand. The board is not impressed by relationships alone. They are impressed by results." "We will see about that," she said before turning away. When the meeting resumed, Regina requested full access to all financial and technical records related to our active projects, claiming she needed to perform a comprehensive cost-benefit analysis. Donald Thorne agreed to her request, but insisted that Sanjay Mehta assist her to ensure complete transparency. Over the next week, a quiet tension filled the office. My team returned to our workspace, continuing our preparation for the Winton database launch. Regina remained in her office, surrounded by financial ledgers and system logs. She was polite when we crossed paths, but her eyes remained cold. On Thursday morning, Sanjay reported back to me. "She is looking for any small discrepancy," he said, "but she is also asking detailed questions about our system access approvals and vendor contract signatures." "She is mapping our security protocols," I realized. "Exactly, and she has been spending a lot of time looking at the Winton files." That night, Nadia Vance called me with urgent news. "Someone has been accessing our primary project directory," she said. "The system logs show the access was performed using Regina's credentials, but they are looking at specific modules that only developers understand." I looked at the access history, and some of the code timestamps have been modified. Small changes have been made to the security parameters. My blood ran cold as I realized what she was doing. "She is trying to sabotage the launch," I said. "She wants the project to fail so she can blame our team." We immediately set up a secondary system to record her unauthorized activities while keeping the core files safe. This was a critical step in our plan to gather irrefutable proof. I immediately called an emergency team meeting at my apartment that night. The 8 members of my team gathered in my living room, their faces serious as Nadia Vance displayed the modified code lines on her laptop screen. "Can we repair the damage?" Fiona Cole asked, her voice filled with concern. "I have already restored the clean backup files," Nadia confirmed, "but I left the modified files in a separate duplicate workspace. Regina thinks her changes are still active in the main system." "She is trying to discredit us," Clarence Webb said. "If the Winton launch fails, she will claim our team was incompetent and justify our permanent elimination. It is a classic corporate destruction pattern," Clara Higgins added. "She creates a crisis, uses it to dismiss the internal team, and then brings in her own people to solve it." I paced across the room, thinking about Regina's motives. "This is about more than just personal pride or budget cuts," I said. "We need to find her ultimate goal." "Sanjay, did you notice any pattern in the files she was examining?" "She was very interested in our external vendor selection process," Sanjay recalled. "She wanted to know who had the authority to approve emergency tech contracts." The pieces began to fall into place. "Who were the finalists for the Winton database contract?" I asked. "We evaluated 12 vendors," Clarence replied. "We recommended 3 to the board. Next Level was chosen, while Telarus and Vanguard Systems were the other 2 finalists." I opened my laptop and began researching Regina's career history. I looked at the public records of the 3 companies where she had previously managed restructurings. In every single case, she had eliminated the internal technology team, declared a system emergency, and then brought in Vanguard Systems under an expensive emergency contract. "It is a contract steering scheme," I whispered to the group. The room fell silent as the legal implications became clear. "She is not just trying to cut costs," I explained. "She is actively sabotaging the company to create business for Vanguard Systems. If Winton fails at launch, the firm will need immediate emergency support, and she will recommend Vanguard Systems. That would violate her fiduciary duty to the company, Sanjay noted. Under federal law, specifically Title 18, Section 1343 of the United States Code, wire fraud carries severe penalties. Additionally, honest services fraud under Section 1346 applies when an employee accepts kickbacks. But we need irrefutable proof of a financial connection, I said. We must show she is receiving kickbacks from Vanguard. We also need to document her physical sabotage of our network, which violates the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act under Section 1030. We need to set a trap, Roy Brooks suggested. We make it easy for her to proceed with her plan. People become careless when they believe they are winning. We spent the next 3 hours designing a strategy. On Thursday morning, I walked into Regina's office, looking visibly stressed and anxious. I wanted to discuss the Winton testing phase, I began, sitting down. I have been reviewing the system logs, she replied smoothly. There appear to be significant security vulnerabilities in the database protocols. That is exactly why I am here, I said, lowering my voice. The team has found critical integration errors that we cannot resolve before the launch date. We do not have the internal resources to fix them in time. Regina's eyes lit up with interest. What kind of support do you require? We need external specialists to audit and repair the code, I said. I was hoping you could recommend a vendor. The board trusts your judgment. I will prepare a list of qualified options by tomorrow morning, she said, concealing her satisfaction. This is why firms need operational experts to step in when internal teams fail. As soon as I left her office, Nadia sent me a message. The screen recording software in the duplicate workspace had captured Regina monitoring our system status. The trap was set. The next morning, Regina called me in and presented a proposal from Vanguard Systems. They can deploy a team immediately, she said, sliding the document across her desk. The cost is $2,300,000, which is higher than your original budget, but they guarantee a successful launch. I will present this proposal to Donald Thorne today. I nodded, pretending to be relieved. That afternoon, I made sure Regina overheard me speaking on the telephone near the break room. We cannot contain the errors, I said into the receiver, sounding panicked. The entire system is slapsing. I do not know how we will explain this to the board tomorrow. When I hung up, I saw Regina walking away, a triumphant smile on her face. That night, the security cameras recorded Regina entering the office building at 11 o'clock and 42 minutes. She went straight to her office and logged into our duplicate database. She modified the presentation files to show catastrophic system failures and added more errors to the code, unaware that every keystroke was being recorded. We sat in the control room, watching her dig her own grave on the live feed. It was almost painful to watch someone act with such reckless overconfidence. But it was necessary to secure the firm's future. By 9 o'clock on Friday morning, the tension in the executive boardroom was palpable. The members of the board of directors sat in silence as Regina Thorpe stood at the head of the conference table, her expression projecting absolute confidence. Donald Thorne sat at the center of the table, his face unreadable. Regina began her presentation, displaying slides that showed severe security vulnerabilities and database corruption in the Winton system. As you can see from the latest testing reports, the Special Solutions team has delivered a fundamentally flawed system, she announced. These are not minor bugs. They are structural failures that threaten our entire launch. I recommend that we immediately suspend Julian Gentry's team and approve an emergency contract with Vanguard Systems to salvage the launch. The contract will require an additional budget of $2,300,000, but it is our only viable option. The directors murmured in concern, looking at the high cost. Bruce Sinclair turned to me. Julian, what is your response to these findings? I stood up slowly and connected my laptop to the projector. Before we discuss Vanguard's proposal, I would like to show the board the actual status of the Winton system, I said. I initiated the system demo on the screen. The interface loaded quickly, and all security protocols engaged perfectly. The test sequence completed with 0 errors. Regina's face turned pale. That is impossible, she stammered. The system files I reviewed last night were completely corrupted. You are correct that the files you accessed were corrupted, I replied. But you were accessing a duplicate environment we created specifically to monitor unauthorized access. I changed the projector display to show a split-screen video recording. On the left side, the security footage showed Regina entering the empty office building at 11 o'clock and 42 minutes on Thursday night. On the right side, the screen recording captured her computer screen as she modified our presentation slides and inserted errors into the system code. The room fell dead silent as the recording played. I advanced the playback to a recorded phone call from her personal mobile device, which our security system had intercepted. We have created the necessary system errors, Regina's voice said clearly through the speakers. The board will approve the emergency contract today. Ensure my consultation fee of 20% is routed to the usual offshore account. The boardroom erupted in angry whispers. Regina lunged forward, trying to shut down my laptop. "This is an illegal invasion of my privacy," she shouted. "These recordings are fabricated." Donald Thorne raised his hand, and 2 building security guards entered the room. The recordings were captured on company equipment and company networks. "Where there is no expectation of privacy," Donald said coldly. "Furthermore, we have already shared this evidence with federal investigators." Sanjay Mehta distributed folders to each board member. These documents contain the financial records of Regina's activities at her previous 3 companies, Sanjay explained. In each case, she received kickbacks representing 20% of the contract value from Vanguard Systems, totaling $13.7 million over 4 years. This constitutes a clear violation of the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act under Title 18, Section 1030 of the United States Code, as well as federal wire fraud. Regina collapsed back into her chair, her confidence completely shattered. "Escort her out of the building and hand her over to the authorities," Donald Thorne ordered the security guards. As Regina was led away in silence, the directors looked at one another in disbelief. "I want to apologize to Julian and his team," Bruce Sinclair said. "We almost let an outsider destroy the very people who saved this company." Donald Thorne stood up and smiled. "The board has voted to dissolve the Operations Efficiency Department. Instead, we are establishing a permanent Strategic Integrity Division, reporting directly to the Board of Directors. Julian, you will lead this division with double your current budget." 3 weeks later, the Winton database system launched without a single technical issue, securing the firm's market position for the next decade. My team celebrated in our spacious new office, which was a significant upgrade from our old storage room. As we raised our glasses to celebrate, I looked at the 8 individuals who had become my family. "Sometimes the most effective revenge is not loud confrontation," I said. "It is simply making the truth visible to those who care to look." Regina Thorpe believed she could prune people like dead branches on a spreadsheet. She never understood that a company's true value lies in the integrity and dedication of its workers. Her greatest mistake was targeting my team, and now she has plenty of time to reflect on that in a federal facility. If you enjoyed this story of corporate justice, please hit the like button and subscribe for more content. Share your own workplace experiences in the comments below. I read every comment and may feature your story in an upcoming video. Remember, the best response to being undervalued is to reveal your true worth when it matters most. Thank you for listening, and stay vigilant in your own careers.